What if I told you that everything you see, everything you touch, even everything you believe you are, is merely a projection, like an image suspended in the air, a hologram, but not just any hologram, one so vast, so intricate, it spans the entire universe, and you are part of it. And this is not a metaphor or a theory, it's a lived experience embedded in your very awareness. The universe is composed of a vast network of energy fields constantly interacting. Some are in motion, others remain perfectly still. What few people realize is that this network forms a colossal hologram, an energetic structure holding together every particle, every thought, every layer of reality. According to the theories of neuroscientist Carl Pribram of Stanford University and physicist David Bohm of the University of London, the human mind also operates as a hologram. And here's where things become truly extraordinary. Our mental hologram interacts with the universal hologram, exchanging energy, seeking meaning, accessing what we call consciousness. But this process becomes even more powerful during expanded states of awareness, such as those accessed through the gateway process. In these altered states, the mind tunes into energetic patterns of the universe that normally remain hidden in everyday life. Energies from the universal hologram reach us as holographic images projected onto the electrostatic fields of the mind. And this is where the magic unfolds. Our perception depends on whether those frequencies resonate with the inner vibrations of our brain and consciousness. When they do, the mind functions like a living antenna, capturing and decoding signals from the universe, as though we're connected to a cosmic web. But the mind must compare these external images with its internal hologram, its memories, its beliefs. Only then can it interpret the message the universe is sending. The gateway process, detailed in a declassified CIA document, harnesses this natural ability by adjusting brainwave frequencies, allowing the mind to synchronize with that great universal hologram. This tuning enables perception beyond the physical, opening gateways to hidden dimensions, to a deeper understanding of who we are and of our place within this immense energetic fabric. The mind doesn't simply observe reality, it participates in its creation. Each thought, each emotion, is a frequency within the symphony of the universe. It means that your inner world is not isolated. It's constantly shaping, receiving, and dancing with the cosmos itself. Curiously, this vision of the universe as a conscious, energetic network wasn't proposed only by Western science. Mexican psychologist and neurophysiologist Jacobo Grinberg, known for his Syntérgic Theory, spoke of a quantum matrix of information that connects everything in existence. For Grinberg, what we perceive as reality is merely the brain's interpretation of an infinite field of energy and consciousness. Precisely what quantum physics and the gateway process are beginning to unveil today. Could it be that, in the end, mystics, scientists, and explorers of consciousness were speaking of the very same thing? The image you see here represents that energetic network of consciousness, where the left hemisphere functions as a logical processor, translating patterns into words and symbols, and the right hemisphere condenses the dimensions of the hologram, making it comprehensible. As psychologist Keith Floyd once said, contrary to what everyone believes, it may not be the brain that creates consciousness, but rather consciousness that gives rise to the appearance of the brain. So, are you ready to question everything you thought you were and discover that everything, absolutely everything, is a hologram in constant creation? Before we delve deeper, it's essential to pause and understand how the human mind achieves something as extraordinary as consciousness, and how that consciousness interprets what we call reality. To do so, we must first examine the true nature of the material world, because it's within that framework, that seemingly solid illusion, where our awareness tries to make sense of what it perceives. Here lies one of the greatest confusions of all: matter and energy. For centuries, we've treated them as separate entities, but what if that distinction is nothing more than an illusion? Modern science has revealed that what we perceive as solid is not solid at all. Every atom in your body, every object you see, is composed of energy networks vibrating in perpetual motion. Electrons orbiting the nucleus and the nucleus itself aren't solid structures. They are oscillating energy fields interacting at specific frequencies. Solid matter, as we understand it, doesn't truly exist. It's merely the result of an energetic dance so fast, so precise, that it deceives our senses entirely. This is a pivotal insight into how consciousness operates. If everything that exists is made of energy and motion, then the mind must interpret those vibrations to construct meaning. In essence, consciousness is an interpretive function of energy. It is the ability to translate unseen oscillations into perceptions, thoughts, and experiences. This knowledge dissolves the boundary between what is material and what is energetic, challenging us to rethink what we define as reality. Everything you believe you can touch or see is, at its core, a structure of vibrating energy, and your consciousness is the instrument that decodes those vibrations into what you call the real world. This perspective transforms our role in the universe. It shows us that the mind doesn't work with physical objects, but with invisible energy fields in constant flux. Every human experience is a translation of those oscillating energetic networks. This interplay of perception and frequency suggests that reality isn't merely observed. It is assembled, shaped, and reinterpreted by each mind. Every encounter becomes a co-creation between the cosmos and the observer's evolving awareness. In his book, Stalking the Wild Pendulum, Itzhak Bentov revealed astonishing data. The nucleus of an atom vibrates at an unimaginable frequency, 10 to the power of 22 Hertz. At room temperature, an atom vibrates at 10 to the power of 15 Hertz, a molecule at 10 to the power of 9 Hertz, and a human cell at approximately 1000 Hertz. Everything, absolutely everything, from the atoms in your body to the fabric of the cosmos itself, is an immense, dynamic field of energy in ceaseless motion. Even what we call matter is nothing more than a temporary energetic configuration. And human consciousness arises from the balance between two opposing forces, motion and stillness. Curiously, this vision aligns with the Syntérgic Theory of Jacobo Grinberg, who described a quantum matrix as the source of all perception. For Grinberg, reality does not exist as an external entity, but as a cerebral translation of an infinite energetic network, a network that vibrates, flows, and rearranges itself each time consciousness dares to interpret it. So what if, in the end, what we call reality is nothing more than the projection of a colossal quantum hologram, awaiting to be deciphered by our own mind? Energy possesses an almost magical ability to create, store, and retrieve meaning simply by projecting itself into three-dimensional patterns. And when that happens, something is born that science calls a hologram. To illustrate this, Itzhak Bentov offers us an example as simple as it is revealing. Imagine a bowl filled with water. Now picture 3 stones dropped into it at the very same time. Waves begin to form, expanding, colliding, and intertwining, generating a design that appears chaotic to the naked eye. But in truth, it is a flawless pattern, pure energy in motion. Then, in one perfect instant, the surface freezes, capturing that precise energetic configuration. If that frozen pattern is then illuminated by a laser, the result is a 3-dimensional image suspended in the air, revealing the exact positions of the stones, a hologram. And what's truly fascinating is that these patterns can retain astonishingly accurate information, even down to microscopic details imperceptible to the human eye. This principle revolutionized science when Denis Gabor in 1947 developed the mathematical foundation of holography, a breakthrough that earned him the Nobel Prize years later. However, its full potential was only unlocked with the invention of the laser, the tool capable of projecting such images into visible space with clarity and coherence. Bentov took this idea further, suggesting that human consciousness operates in a similar manner, an energetic interaction that both creates and perceives 3-dimensional patterns, as if the mind were a projector of realities, generating not just images but layered symbolic meaning. In this model, we are not passive observers of the universe. We are active participants, interacting with the vibrational frequencies of the environment in real time. Holograms possess something extraordinary: their ability to store infinite layers of information in energetic patterns, capable of encoding form, data, and invisible connections beyond what our senses detect. This principle has not only transformed optics and technology, it has opened entirely new frontiers in understanding the universe. Scientists began to explore dimensions once considered unreachable, driven by the hidden logic within energy itself. Bentov and Gabor demonstrated that energy is the foundational essence of all existence, from the tiniest particles to the vast field of consciousness that defines human experience. By understanding how holograms encode and reveal information, we begin to imagine how the human mind attunes itself to the universe, translating hidden patterns into thoughts, emotions, and lived reality. As biologist Lyle Watson observed, when a laser touches an object, like a human face, the resulting pattern of light is highly complex, but it records every detail in the form of a hologram, a face suspended in the air, a living image made purely of light and energy. This vision resonates deeply with the ideas of Jacobo Grinberg. According to his Syntérgic Theory, reality is a projection of consciousness, a field of information encoded and decoded by the mind, like a quantum hologram in which everything is interconnected. Grinberg proposed that what we perceive as the physical world is actually an energetic translation created by consciousness, an interference of subtle patterns that gives rise to the illusion of solidity and form. And if that's true, then perhaps each of us is a living hologram, navigating a universe woven entirely from light, frequency, and pure energy. One of the greatest mysteries of holograms is their ability to contain the whole within each of their parts. If you were to take a hologram and shatter it into 1,000 pieces, each fragment would still hold the entire image. Yes, it would be blurrier, more diffuse, but still present, still alive. Bentov explains it through his water and stones example. The ripples created when pebbles fall into a bowl of water symbolize energy in motion, while the still surface represents energy at rest. From that dance between movement and stillness, an interference pattern is born, the very foundation of a hologram. But there is a third essential ingredient, coherent light, such as a laser beam, that passes through this pattern and projects it into space, revealing its hidden meaning. Imagine those ripples frozen in time, and then lit by a laser. Suddenly, a three-dimensional image appears, suspended in air, revealing what was once invisible. Marilyn Ferguson, editor of the Brain Mind Bulletin, captured it perfectly. Billions of bits of information can be stored in a tiny space, because the pattern is everywhere, not in any single point. This means that every part of a hologram holds the entire image. The information is distributed evenly, encoded across the whole, awaiting the right light to bring it to life. This principle makes holograms extraordinary tools for storing and projecting complex information with incredible precision. But beyond physics, it compels us to rethink how we perceive reality itself. Perhaps the universe, and we ourselves, are fragments that still carry the whole. And once again, Jacobo Grinberg seems to have foreseen what science is only beginning to grasp. His Syntérgic Theory describes reality as a distributed information matrix, where each point contains the totality of the universe. Grinberg proposed that what appears separate is merely an illusion of limited perception. This concept challenges the very limits of perception, suggesting that wholeness can exist even in separation, and that nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed. And just like a hologram, each one of us carries the whole within. Could it be that we are conscious fragments, projecting, each day, the complete image of the universe? Imagine for a moment that the reality you perceive isn't reality itself, but a geometric translation, like your mind overlays a three-dimensional grid onto what it receives from the universe. This, according to Itzhak Bentov, is how consciousness operates. By applying this three-dimensional matrix, the mind reduces incoming data to two-dimensional forms, making them easier to interpret. It's remarkably similar to the way digital computers operate, converting all information into a basic system of ones and zeros. In fact, Bentov suggests the human mind functions in the same way, processing reality through a fundamental binary system. The key lies in how we compare everything we perceive. As Bentov puts it, whenever we perceive something, we only perceive differences. Our consciousness constructs reality based on those subtle differences it constantly detects and evaluates. In expanded states of awareness, our brain activates both hemispheres in synchrony. The right hemisphere, with its holistic and non-verbal perspective, captures the holographic data in its entirety, as though it were observing the universe from above, perceiving connections normally invisible to the rational linear mind. It sees integrated and complex patterns without needing to simplify them immediately. Meanwhile, the left hemisphere, with its logical and computational orientation, processes the data by filtering it through its binary lens, reducing complexity into more manageable forms. This interaction between the two hemispheres allows the mind to project, filter, and comprehend the universe as a dynamic hologram. In this process, consciousness gives shape to experience. It becomes a perfect dance between wholeness and precision, between complexity and comprehension. A process that transforms the human mind into a living computer, capable not only of interpreting, but of actively generating realities. This reveals a deeper truth. Consciousness is not merely reactive, but actively shapes what it sees, transforming perception into creation and awareness into structure. Jacobo Grinberg also spoke of this equilibrium, describing the mind as an interface between the quantum matrix and perception itself. According to Grinberg, consciousness translates infinite patterns from that universal network of information, rendering the unknowable into something intelligible, giving meaning to what was once beyond reach. And through this translation, we create what we call life. Could it be that perception is not the endpoint of experience, but merely the beginning of a much deeper reality? Could the true purpose of consciousness be to remember that we were never separate from the whole? The gateway process aims to achieve something extraordinary, to fine-tune the energetic matrix of the mind, allowing consciousness to expand beyond the limits of the physical senses. This process opens a door to hidden layers of the universal hologram, realms of reality that remain unseen in ordinary states of awareness. Author Marilyn Ferguson notes that the theories of Pribram and Bohm offer surprisingly logical explanations for phenomena once deemed mystical or paranormal. According to Ferguson, this radical theory suddenly makes sense of the mystics' sayings throughout the ages. Indeed, the holographic model proposed by Pribram and Bohm breaks the boundaries between science and spirituality, merging neuroscience and quantum physics into a single framework that challenges our traditional view of reality. But the model also reveals something far more profound: self-awareness, the unique capacity of the mind to know that it knows. Our mind doesn't just perceive the world, it also observes itself, analyses its thoughts, and evaluates them in real time. But how does it do that? By creating internal copies of its own mental hologram, projecting them outward to be examined as objects of reflection. Then, these projections are compared with memory, searching for differences, refining perceptions, and adjusting behavior in a continuous loop of self-discovery. This mechanism sets humans apart from the rest of the living world. We don't simply react to the environment. We reflect upon our existence and question our place within it. And that truly is the deeper power of the gateway process, expanding consciousness to access not only greater dimensions of the universe, but deeper dimensions of ourselves. This model reveals that we are not passive observers, but active creators of our experience. Each thought, each moment of introspection, is a bridge toward a greater understanding of who we are and how we relate to the cosmos. When we embrace this awareness, we begin to create, evolve, and transform, turning every moment into a chance to expand our consciousness and reconnect with the infinite potential of the universe. This isn't merely theory, it's an invitation to awaken, a reminder that reality responds to the very quality of our attention. Once again, Jacobo Grinberg seems to have anticipated all of this. His Syntérgic Theory suggests that this self-aware process is, in truth, an ongoing dialogue with the quantum matrix itself. Every thought we project, every emotion we feel, is an energetic interference that sculpts reality in real time. Grinberg invites us to see ourselves not as isolated minds, but as living extensions of a universal network of consciousness that is thinking itself through us. So, could it be that right now, the universe is watching itself through your very eyes? Now then, a compelling question arises. What if the reality we perceive isn't as real as we believe? What if everything is an illusion, a projection crafted by our own mind, an energetic hologram in constant motion, enveloping us, responding to us, reflecting us? This idea, as old as the deepest spiritual traditions, now resurfaces with force in modern science. And the gateway process appears to be the missing link between these worlds. Our thoughts, our emotions, are energetic waves traveling through the universe, shaping the very reality we experience each day. What was once dismissed as mysticism now resonates with quantum physics. From the ancient Hermetic teachings to shamanic practices of ancestral cultures, all seem to have intuited that reality is not an external object, but a mirror of our own consciousness. What they once called the Great Spirit, the Akashic Field, or the Divine Matrix, science now begins to describe as the quantum field or energetic matrix. The universal hologram, a vast interconnected energetic network, is not merely a theory, but a map of how everything works. And in that map, the human mind is not a passive observer, but an active projector, shaping the very form of that reality. The Gateway Process report, written in a context of high-level military confidentiality, reveals that consciousness can influence reality itself, transcending the boundaries of time and space. Each thought is a vibrational interference capable of altering the universe's projections. The human mind, when synchronized through practices like deep meditation, visualization, or hemispheric synchronization, gains access to realms where reality becomes fluid and malleable. In such states, each of us becomes a conscious creator of our experience. Imagine, every thought you think, every emotion you feel, is projecting your version of the universe, like a unique frequency that modulates the global energetic network. Your mind, right now, is tuning into a specific reality, shaping what you see, what you live, and ultimately, who you are. This understanding redefines our role in the cosmos. We're not victims of a chaotic world. We are its designers, sculptors of perception. This is not abstract theory. It is a lived, measurable experience, one that challenges you to reconsider every assumption about existence, presence, and creation. The power is not hidden. It is already within you, waiting to be fully remembered. Reality, far from being a solid wall, is a responsive field, waiting to be reshaped by your awareness. And this is where mystical tradition and quantum theory converge. Jacobo Grinberg, with his Syntérgic Theory, long suggested that reality is a matrix of information, a living network of universal consciousness that responds to every act of human thought and observation. For Grinberg, the key lies not out there, but within each of us, in the frequency we choose to emit, the intentions we set, and the reality we decide to create, consciously, courageously. The big question that remains is both simple and revolutionary. What reality will you choose to project from this moment forward? This is only the beginning. If you want to keep exploring how the human mind, energy, and the universe are more connected than we ever imagined, subscribe and join us for the next episode. Because what comes next might forever change the way you understand who you are, where you come from, and above all, how far you're truly capable of going. And that concludes our video. If you enjoyed the content as much as we did, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions for future videos. And don't forget to turn on notifications to stay up to date with all our updates. Thanks for being part of our community. See you in the next video.